This kind of little pedestrian alley in the backyard of the church precinct is so medieval. The street pattern goes back maybe 500 years, 600 years. This is the old Vienna. It's often the case that in the large old European cities, the area right around the main cathedral is the most historic zone with the oldest buildings and some of the most characteristic and quaint narrow alleyways and little pedestrian tunnels and courtyards in the middle of the old buildings and beautiful decorations in stucco on the walls here. And that's certainly the case in Vienna. The neighborhood right around the Dom, the cathedral, is a very rewarding experience for you to just wander through. It's very easy to find it. It's basically a 4-block radius all around the cathedral, particularly to the left, the right, and behind the cathedral. And you'll see these cute little alleys. This is a wine shop, Fig Müller. It's one of the most traditional restaurants and wine shops in town. Fig Müller is famous for their Wiener Schnitzel. They claim it covers the plate more than any Wiener Schnitzel in town. Wiener Schnitzel, you know, that means Vienna Schnitzel, and it's a great meal. Thin veal, pounded and breaded and fried. Maybe not so good for you, but it sure is delicious. And Fig Müller here in this alleyway is one of the fine places to catch a great example of the Wiener Schnitzel or the local beer, or salads, pastas. The Viennese restaurants really have everything that you could ever possibly want. And this neighborhood just keeps going. You'll see these little ornamental details on the buildings. If you look for them, you have to look up as you're walking along. The Figaro house is where Mozart lived while he composed the opera Figaro. Mozart lived in Vienna for most of his musical career, and this is where he died. The Jesuit Church is a great example of the Baroque style of architecture and interior decoration. Constructed during the time of the Counter-Reformation, so we're talking about the late 17th century, early 18th century. The interior of the Jesuit Church is very much influenced by the Italians, and yet it's a blend of Austrian and Italian style. The dome is kind of humorous because it's not really as deep as it looks. It's a shallow dome that was painted. There's a lot of trompe-l'oeil, the trick the eye kind of perspective here. And your eye will also be tricked by what seems to be a lot of marble, but most of the marble is really just fake marble and wooden plaster columns covered and painted to look like real marble. The ceiling and most of the interior was designed by Father Andrea Pozzo, who we've run into in Rome. He was the designer also of San Ignacio that we've taken you to see in our Rome tours and visits. Now you see the dome looking oval rather than round. From different angles, it has a different shape. It's round from one angle and it's oval from another angle because it's not a real dome, it's a painted dome. One of Pozzo's brilliant tricks. And there are some beautiful paintings on the inside. And again, a church is a great place to visit, not just for all of the artworks, but you can sit down and you can rest for a little while. Resting is always important when you're doing a walking tour. And of course, a walking tour is always the best way to see these old cities. You've got to see them on your own 2 feet. You don't see these kinds of sights when you're on a bus tour. If you were in Vienna on a typical bus tour, you'd be there for a day. You'd see a palace, you'd see the cathedral, perhaps a little bit of the main mall, and that's it. You'd leave. You'd miss the little back alleys, and yet this is the character, the heart and soul of the city. And it's so easy to find. Just a few blocks behind the cathedral, there's also a Greek church here, which has another fine restaurant right next door. We'll take you in there in another program. We're going to have actually 2 episodes on Vienna. There's so much to see, we can't contain it in a 1-hour program. This same neighborhood behind the cathedral has some of the most charming outdoor restaurants and cafes you'll ever run into. It's just a perfect setting to sit and relax, have a meal or just have a drink, and take your time. Have a leisurely conversation with your friend. Rest up. It's a good way to spend the evening. When you're done with your busy day, you want to kick back and relax somewhere, and what could be more colorful and atmospheric than an alley like this? You'll find them just behind the cathedral, a few blocks to the left and a few blocks to the right. Then on to the main busy pedestrian mall. This is the Kärntner Straße.
Yeah, so here we
take a stroll with our Hawaii group, looking for lunch. There are so many places to pick from, and most of them are good, but it can be a little confusing, so here's a suggestion for you coming up.
So we're on the Kärntner Straße, and it goes down here about as far as you can see, about 5 blocks. It ends up at the Straße at the Opera House, and before that there's a little side street that has this cafeteria that has a very decent lunch. And in the cafeteria you can get a light lunch or a full lunch, whatever you choose. You pick what you want, and you can use a credit card even. Rosenberger restaurant, a fantastic place to eat in the heart of Vienna, and it's a great place because it's huge. You can pick anything you want here. They've got a big selection from the cafeteria table. There's hot foods, cold foods. You can get coffee, you can get pastries, drinks of all kinds, beverages, wine. You can get soft drinks, fruit drinks, great coffee here. And the nice thing is it's quick and you can get whatever you want to get. And even if it's crowded, it doesn't matter because there's always room. There's 3 levels of tables here at the Rosenberger. Always space for 1 more or 2 more, or another group even. Notice all the fine shops we're going by. Great shopping here.
I noticed that we passed the Hotel Sacher on the way here. Everybody should have a piece of.
Yeah, that's right. The Hotel Sacher is ahead, just ahead. Famous for their cakes. The Hotel Sacher is just here, so they've got the famous Sacher torte. Of course, you can get that chocolate cake in almost any pastry shop and restaurant in town, but the original real thing is found in the Hotel Sacher.
So don't worry about your diet when you're on a trip like this. You might only be in Vienna once, so enjoy yourself.
You can get all kinds of pastries any place in this town. They're all good. Ice creams, coffees, beer.
We leave the busy Kärntner Straße passing the Hotel Sacher to a pretty little green park.
So now we're walking through the Burggarten. This is a nice respite from the hustle bustle of the city. Beautiful green garden, a little park in the middle of the city, and it's going to bring us right around past the Mozart statue and to the Art History Museum.
The world's greatest composer is buried in an unmarked grave, but at least Vienna built this beautiful Mozart memorial.